Oh my god, winter is always such a delight for my retinas. I am getting blinded every time I film. Hello fellow book lovers and welcome back to another video. I hope you're doing fine. I hope you're well and I hope your life is going smooth because mine has been stressful lately and I don't wish stress on anybody. Anyways, this is a TBR. If you've never been around for my TBRs, they are quite casual. I like to chit chat. I like to talk about books that I have no clue of. And I'm always choosing 5 books for the following month of a season. I say always like I've done this for a while now. I've done this once and this is going to be my second time. So the period in which I want to read those books is 3 months, December, January and February. I'm a slow reader, that's why I'm choosing only 5 books. Is there anything left to say? I don't think so. Let's maybe talk about the TBR from last season. I have also picked 5 books and out of those 5 I have, I think, read 4 books. The only book I have not read is the short story book of H.P. Lovecraft. I was just not in the mood. I'm gonna show you where my motivation left me by showing you a page of the book. Here you go. I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can. But this is like tiny font stacked on 200 pages. 100 of them I have already read. But H.P. Lovecraft is not the greatest conversationalist in his stories, so there's barely any breaking of this wall of text, and if you're just not into it, you know, how will you finish this? Maybe one day, maybe one day. Hope is what dies at last. On to the books that I would love to read. I have 1 manga, 1 graphic novel, and the rest, like the remaining 3 books, are novels. So the first one on my list is Sayaka Murata's The Ceremony of Life, and I'm hoping that that is the English title. If not, it will be written here, but that's what it says in German. I have the German edition here. And what do I know about this book? Nothing. Why do I want to read it? Because I read Convenience Store Woman. I know I'm in the minority here, and maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I didn't like Convenience Store Woman. Maybe I've misread something. Maybe also the translation wasn't the best. I remember the text being very bulky and me not really finding a connection to the words and the sentences and the melody of the speech. Maybe this will be better. I think that Murata has a sort of weirdness to her stories. This is the vibe that I get from her titles and from the book covers. This is nothing I have any experience on, but this is just something that those books radiate to me. Okay, next I have a book that I think the title to be one of the best titles ever created, and that is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. And well, coincidence or destiny, I don't know. But some power out there wanted me to pick up The Only Good Indians from the library just like a couple of months ago. I wanted to say the other day, but I actually have it since 2 months already. I have to bring it back in December. I only now realize that this is the same author. So I will have finished this before I start this, and then I will know how this man writes and what I'll be up for. My thoughts about this so far. It kind of gives me slasher vibes, obviously, right? I think that there's going to be blood, maybe some limbs that get cut off, maybe. If I'm not mistaken, this is horror, as well as the Only Good Indians. I think both of those are horror. And if it's good, nothing, I don't know. If it's good, it's good. Just from the title alone, I would give this a 10 out of 10. Honestly, this is one of the best titles I've read in the past years, and one that speaks to my heart. However, though, I got this recommendation from Kayla, Books and Lala, not personally, from her channel, because she was raving about this book multiple times. She talked about it multiple times on her channel, and I think she really, really liked it, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not mistaken, otherwise I wouldn't have listened, right? I think she really, really liked it, and the thing about Kayla and her taste in literature and books is that we have a completely contrary taste. All the books she raves about, I tend to really hate. And the ones I love, she seems to not like at all. Which is also why it's a great thing that there's so many other channels out there. Because tastes are subjective and different. And nothing about that is right or wrong, by the way. I still love to watch her videos. She has really, really great ideas. Maybe I'm gonna borrow or steal one or two of them, but I will always refer to Kayla if I do that. Anyways, I do accept other opinions next to mine. At the end of the day, my opinion is also just an opinion. Okay, let's move on to the last novel that I have on my list, and I have absolutely no clue what this is about. I just want to read it. It's one of those books that I just saw lying on the table with stacked books in my bookstore, and it's called Fright. Ready or Not, Fright by Eva V. Gibson. And I'm gonna read you the premise because I have no memory of what this is about. It says, everything in Frightmare's House of Horrors is fake. The clown mannequins, the cheap replica Annabelle doll, the zombies played by wannabe actors. But the dead body Dave finds is very, very real. His summer job has become a labyrinth of nightmares, surprises lurk behind every door, and if Dave doesn't open the right one, he'll never get out. I think that this is directed at teenagers. Is that middle grade? I have no clue. My English is sometimes honestly really bad. I don't know why you're watching me talking in this horrendous English sometimes. Anyways, I think that this is middle grade. It says it's for teenagers from the age of 12. Okay, fun. I am not really into young adult literature or middle grade literature or anything directed at people below 18. But sometimes, from time to time, I just love to take a step into genres that I don't normally look at and let myself get surprised. I have actually read some great literature that was directed at a younger audience throughout this span that I'm already here on BookTube, and I'm always up for new surprises, especially a book that is directed at a younger audience of horror lovers. Why shouldn't I be excited to get into this? Yes. Okay. Let's move on to the graphic novel. To the graphic novel. After that, I'm going to talk about the manga. Graphic novel first. So I have gotten a recommendation from a commenter. Thank you, commenter. And it was on a video in which I said that I don't really like sci-fi, but that with graphic novels, I often find that genres that I don't particularly like still work for me. So somebody recommended On a Sunbeam by Tillie Walden to me. I'm gonna put this down because it's really heavy. So my connection to Tillie Walden so far is that I have read Are You Listening? I think 2 months ago, and I've talked about this. Didn't really like it that much, but it had a lot to do with the sort of twist and surrealism that Tillie Walden brought into her story that in my opinion didn't need this surrealism. With On a Sunbeam, I'm kind of expecting me to be to think differently about potential surrealism, because the genre is not placed in reality. We're not on Earth. We're not bound to physical laws. We're not bound to logic systems. We can do whatever we want to in sci-fi. So I do feel a bit more positive towards it at the moment, although it is sci-fi still at the end of the day. It's just not my genre. But also this particular book, I have seen displayed on the shelves of my library so many times, and I always looked at it and kind of in my mind made a mental note and saying, one day I will read you, because you are intriguing. Your cover is gorgeous. On the Sunbeam sounds interesting, but you're fucking sci-fi. I don't know if I want to do that. And then I got this recommendation in this comment, and that was the last drop that I needed, and I took it with me. So that's that. There's really not much more to say about this from my perspective. At least currently. Okay, now last thing I want to read this season, which is winter. Let me again remind you, December, January, February are the months that I'm talking about. I would love to read Junji Ito's Tomie. Maybe you've missed it. It was here, on my background for the longest time, and I never touched it. Now is the time to touch it. I have ran out of Junji Ito manga, and also I'm like trying to save money because of the high energy costs in Europe at the moment. So I wanted to try and pick up a book on my physical TBR shelf that I haven't touched for the longest time. And the reason for why I didn't touch it is because it's fucking thick, okay? I have never read a story this long by Junji Ito. I remember struggling with No Longer Human, not in a bad way. I just took my sweet time. I love No Longer Human. I really like the original by Osamu Dazai, and I really enjoy the adaptation by Junji Ito. But I remember like taking a while to get through it. But then after that I read Uzumaki like a couple of months later, and Uzumaki I think is even longer than No Longer Human, and that I got done in 2 days. So I don't know, maybe I'll get this down in 3. But this is longer than Uzumaki. Let's not like pretend that this is not a thick boy. It is. Anyways, other than that, Tomie, I also have to put this down. Tomie is, as far as to my knowledge, because I've once read a short story about Tomie. Tomie is like I think she's a girl. We never really know whether she's a girl or a demon. We don't really know where she comes from. But she's like such a beautiful thing that artists try to capture her beauty in sculptures, in paintings, whatever. They try to capture like the essence of Tomie, and they seem to always fail. The picture never seems to get as beautiful as the person. There's always something wrong. There's always like something nasty lurking behind her face. And I do love this premise because I do love art, and everything that has to do with art is very dear to me. So it's actually one of those stories where I was wondering like why I'm not picking it up sooner, because it seems to be one that I would really enjoy. I don't know if this is telling the story of Tomie from beginning to end, like if it's like telling why she is the way she is or whatever, or if it's just like one story after another of an artist falling into despair and like breaking down because they can't portray her face or like her. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I will let you know once I know. And with that said, I think I'm at the end of the video. I love TBRs, I really do. I love this casual chit-chat conversation. At this point, I maybe also want to take a second and say I am honestly appreciative about like you watching and about anybody who's watching, honestly, because as often as I claim or like pretend to do this for myself, sort of like part of the fun also comes in the interactions and like the communication with anybody who wants to communicate. So thank you so much. Thank you so much if you've been around for longer. Thank you so much if you're a new subscriber. Thank you so much for liking books, and thank you so much for being you. And with that said, I've only one thing left to say, and that is I'll see you at another time in another video. Bye!